You are listening to Brave Talk Radio. You're just in time to join today's brave conversations with your hosts, Jackie Little Guest, Deryl Williams, and Toni Emehel.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's still going on today. We still have in our churches, and we have different, what we call a different tier of people. It's almost like a silver, gold, platinum. You know, which one are you?
Yeah, I mean, how can you possibly trust someone who doesn't trust you? And again, these are the seeds that were planted in our ancestors long ago, but we see them manifesting differently in different aspects of our life and religious practices today. So go ahead, Deryl. You have some more information you want to share with us.
Yeah, the information I read just now dealt with the fact that there's a continuum between African Americans and Native Africans on the African continent. But now, here we go. It also talks about, and what you were saying is the mistrust that we have for each other. It appears to be genetic or inherent or congenital, and that's not true. I'm going to continue to read this document. It says, in weighing the range of U.S. interests in black Africa, basic recommendations arranged without intent to imply priority are, here we go, specific steps should be taken with the help of the appropriate government agencies to inhibit specific steps to inhibit coordinated activity of the black movement in the United States. Okay, it says special clandestine operations should be launched by the CIA. Y'all remember COINTELPRO? Y'all know what that was about? We'll talk about it another time. But I got to continue to read this document. It says special clandestine operations should be launched by the CIA to generate mistrust. Special clandestine operations should be launched by the CIA to generate mistrust and hostility in American and world opinion against joint activity of the two forces and cause division among black African radical groups and their leaders, and division among African Americans. This is 1978. Jimmy Carter, Zbigniew Brzezinski. These were the plans. The wordings were to inhibit coordinated activity. It says special clandestine, meaning secret, meaning covert, meaning hidden. Operations should be launched by the CIA to generate mistrust and hostility. Okay, so we're not born hating each other. We're not born mistrusting each other. But when you have your own government calling for special clandestine operations to be launched by the Central Intelligence Agency to generate mistrust, generate hostility, that's not us doing that. That's this government doing that. Okay? It says U.S. embassies to black African countries, especially interested in South Africa. Now, they can have y'all thinking, oh, they were against apartheid and, and it says interested in South Africa must be highly circumspect in the view of the activity of certain political circles and influential individuals opposing the objectives and methods of U.S. policy towards South Africa. Oh, somebody was lying. It says it must be kept in mind that I told y'all that everything that y'all get in the media is propaganda and lies. It says it must be kept in mind that the failure of U.S. strategy in South Africa would adversely affect American standing throughout the world. So they were in support of South Africa. Okay, now, I'm not saying this. This is what the document says. This is a declassified document that I found, okay, because I don't want people to think I'm making this up. It says the FBI. So you got the CIA engaged in clandestine operations against us, and the FBI. And their program was called COINTELPRO. But let me read what this says. Should mount surveillance operations against black African representatives and collect sensitive information on those, especially at the UN, who oppose U.S. policies towards South Africa. The information should include facts and links with the leaders of the black movement in the United States. This making possible at least neutralization of the adverse effects of their activity. And their activity meaning them trying to unify, them trying to work together, them trying to fight a common enemy. This is what the document says.
Well, let me take it and parallel all of that with the Willie Lynch speech that went forth way back when. Because in that, when he was describing how to make a slave and how to break the spirit of the black people, he said that he used fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. And he took those three core concepts and he used them to point out the differences from one slave to the next in order to pit them against each other and develop a fear, a distrust, and an envy of one another. How do you see that playing out in the church?
Oh, that, in the church, well, you fear. You may fear okay, let's see, let me put it this way. In some churches, not all, your pastor will preach down to you and make you think that if you don't do as I say, God is going to punish you. If you don't do it my way, God will punish you. So now you've got this fear of this pastor and these leaders because they have programmed the mind to say, well, you know what, if you do this and if you do this or you don't do it the way I say do it, then you are not in line with God, and God is going to punish you. So now you're afraid to do this, that, and the other, whereas God does not give us the spirit of fear. And fear plays 99% of, a role in how we live our lives, a lot of us.
Let's talk about this issue of distrust.
I got to read one more thing, Toni. I got to read one more thing from this document because you just said it, and here I'm going to tell you what the United States government just said. You just brought it out again. It says here, this is the last thing I need to read, and this will shut all these people up that talk all this. I ain't African. I'm this. Okay, it says the principal changes are as follows. Social and economic issues have supplanted political aims as the main preoccupations of the movement, and actions formerly planned on a nationwide scale are now being organized locally. Talking about black people organizing and working together. Fragmentation and a lack of organizational unity within the movement, sharp social stratification of the black population, and lack of policy options which could reunite them. Okay, it also says want of a national leader of standing comparable to Martin Luther King. These were their challenges. Now, these were the remedies for these challenges. It says, B, the range of policy options. It goes on to say, the concern for the future security of the United States makes necessary the range of policy options arranged without intent implied priority are, A, to enlarge programs within the framework of the present budget for the improvement of the social and economic welfare of American black men in order to ensure continued development of present trends in the black movement. It says, B, to elaborate and bring into effect, listen to this, y'all, bring into effect a special program designed to perpetuate division in the black movement and neutralize the most active groups of certain organizations. It goes on to say, those organizations representing different social strata of the black community to encourage division in black circles. It says to preserve the present climate which inhibits or stops or debilitates the emergence from within the black leadership of a person capable of exerting nationwide appeal. Lastly, it says to work out and realize preventive operations in order to impede durable ties between U.S. blacks and blacks in Africa. Don't play with me.
We're going to have to definitely take that and put it in bite-sized chunks. But I want to draw it all back to, are we still? And I know we talk about that division in the black movement. I want to talk about the division in the black church, because some of these very same things that we're talking about here now are not just happening on the secular realm in our lives, but it's also occurring in the black church. Fear, distrust, envy. What's driving you? What's driving the division in the church? When you talk about a group of church leaders that can't work together to reach a common goal, when you talk about a group of women in the church that can't work together. One of the things that, again, now this Willie Lynch letter was written back in 1712. The document that you were just reading from, Daryl, was that 1978?
1978, which is nothing but a carryover.
Okay, listen, now somebody do the math, okay? We're not going to do the math for you. But from 1712 to 1978 to now 2016. And this is what Willie Litch spoke to the people then. He said he made a list of differences, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to call out all these differences, but here are some of the differences that I always hear people, leaders, when they're trying to run down someone else in the church to raise themselves up or to bring that person down. The list, among those list of differences in the Willie Litch letter was intelligence, attitude. You heard anything about folks talking about personalities won't work? Size, sex, size of plantation. All the time. Fear, distrust, envy. That's what we're talking about. And then he sums this up to say distrust is stronger than trust. Envy is stronger than adulteration. And respect is stronger than admiration.
There's so much. The distrust piece is, that is, bottom line with that is, that's why it's so important to have a relationship, your own personal relationship with God. Because if you don't, you will be so confused. You won't know who to trust, who to go to, who to talk to, you know, and God give you a spirit of discernment. And, you know, just because a lot of times, you know, because you are a leader does not mean you know the answer to. Sometimes the layman that sits next to me, I can go to them and trust them more than I can trust that leader, which should not be, because you are the leader. I should be able to trust you. I should be able to come to you and tell you this, that, and the other in confidence that you will not go out and spread it. Unfortunately, in some churches, not all, you can't do that. So now I don't trust anybody in the church. One, because you talk too much. Two, because it goes back to that, you know, give me money, my pocket. So now you got people coming into church. I don't trust the people in the church because all they want is the money. And it's a greed. It's a flesh greed.
Selfishness.
You are listening to Brave Talk Radio at ToniEmehel.com. Here I am on this date with a extremely handsome, debonair, dark skin, big smile, tall airline pilot for a very exclusive airline. Someone who had a wonderful job, very charismatic voice, very strong, muscular build. Oh yes, ladies, he was the total package. Every time he flew through the city of Atlanta, we would meet for a date, and one day I had the opportunity to finish our meal and talk about our plans of possibly building a relationship with one another. And he asked me the question. He said, "Hey girl, I wanted to ask you something." Now keep in mind, we just had a wonderful dinner. He's always smiling with those big brown eyes, and I looked across the table and I thought to myself, there's probably nothing he could ask me for that I would not be interested in giving him. Because, hey ladies, he was the total package. And he said, "Hey, I want to know something. When I fly through Atlanta, Georgia, will you be my girl here in Georgia?" And I thought about what he just said, and I said, "Hey, can you repeat that to me?" He said, "Yeah, sure. Will you be my girl here in Georgia? You know, my Georgia peach. So when I fly through Atlanta, you're my girl when I come to Atlanta." Now here in my mind, I'm suddenly thinking, wait a minute. Suddenly I don't feel so special. And I most definitely am realizing I am not the only one in his world. You see, if I was going to be his girl in Georgia, then there must be quite a few women around the globe that he puts time into when he's flying through.
I just happen to be one in one particular state. So I ask you, ladies, is this your man? This is Latonja Worsham with the Take It to the Max Global Radio Network.
Hi, this is Toni Emehel, and I've got one question for you. Is this your man?
Well, it's like this. When a man is not for you, the signs are always there. And I always tell women, when you're dealing with a man, there are two things you have to remember. Number one, you have to listen to what a man does, not what he says. Our actions, ladies, will tell you everything you need to know. And two, follow your instincts and ignore your emotions. The instincts are God talking to you. He's warning you to stay away from these red flags, but your emotions want you to ignore those instincts. And so when that happens, every single time, we men are aware that we're not who we say we're going to be. We are not for you. We are not honest. And ladies, men, we know how to be faithful. We know how to be honest. We know how to be committed. And we know how to be caring and loving. We simply decide who we want to treat right and who we want to treat wrong. It's really that simple. So if a man is not treating you the way you want to be treated, it's not because he doesn't know how. He's choosing not to.
Is this your man? Join us for an exclusive series of interview with author Colin Tate beginning Saturday, April 30th, here on the Take It to the Max Radio Network. It's Brave Talk Radio on ToniEmehel.com with your host, Deryl Williams, Jackie Little Guess, and Toni Emehel.
What we're talking about is this mental process that has worked on the minds of black people over years. The government has taken hold to the same kinds of principles that Willie Lynch planted way back when. And I want to talk about transferring of spirits, because the spirit was transferred even then. In the book of Matthew, Jesus gives us a perfect example of how spirits can be transferred, because he transferred legions of demons into a herd of pigs. Okay, so it does happen. And that's what happened in the American history from a spiritual perspective, because we're still dealing with those same demons now. And in this writing, this speech that was given by Willie Lynch, it says, the black slave, okay, and I'm talking about mental slaves here now in 2016, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands.
Mm-hmm. There it is. Mm-hmm.
There it is.
And we're talking the same types of things going on in our communities, going on in our organizations, going on in our family life, going on in our relationships with one another, okay? And, yes, going on even in the church. I mean, oftentimes God surrounds us with people of wisdom, people of discernment, people of gifting, people of anointing, people on an assignment, and they were assigned to our lives, but because they don't carry a title, I've been taught to distrust them and to distrust what comes out of their mouth. Right. So this is the spillover from the slave syndrome and Willie Lynch syndrome from 1712. It's a spillover.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's talk about deprogramming the mind and rehabilitation of black people after slavery. We were set free, and then what?
Well, we were set free to what? What were we set free to? We were set free to, okay, it's like a dog being set free from his dog house to the dog pound. Okay, really?
Mm-hmm.
Where did he go? He went from the dog house to the dog pound. So was he really set free?
No.
So it all goes back to what were we really set free to? Because, we come here, our minds have been programmed to a certain thing, and then we're set free into this great land of opportunity. And they have taught this is how it should be. So now we're being programmed this way. So really, has your mind really been set free? No, your mind has been programmed to think the way the one who controls the puppet string wants you to go. And if you buck against the system, then they have something to do.
You are listening to Brave Talk Radio at ToniEmehel.com.
Today's broadcast has been brought to you by Next Level Plus Project Management and Business Consultants. Learn more about how Next Level Plus can help you solve the right problems and seize the right opportunities by calling 704-780-2997 or visit their website at nextlevelplus.org.